Hey folks, this is Jeff. I finally got a little time to come out and lay out the post locations for my Sinclair ground mount for my PV arrays. I hear a little thunder in the background. Probably have to cut this short. Looks like a thunderstorm might be brewing up here. But this is out in the open field. I had originally wanted to put this on the other side of that fence where those bushes are, but the distance was just it was going to double the price of my wire, and it's already in the thousands of dollars for the wire, so I opted not to do that. It's approximately 400 feet from this post right here, which will be the first post, back over to my PV panel, which is on the other side of those trees right there. And that's a pretty good pull, even using the aluminum direct barrel wire. I'm still looking at around $24,000 and $5,000 worth of wire. So going back there was going to double that cost, so I'll stick it here and maybe the animals won't bother it. We'll see. But if you looked at one of my earlier videos, I did a shade analysis, and I picked this spot. First, this is, it's pretty obvious this is a good spot. There's not very many trees around, but I did a shade analysis here. Basically no shade in any of the solar production window. I had looked at some places closer that way, but I was going to get some shading off these trees here, because this is due south, and that's the way we want our array to face. And I had looked at putting it closer to my house, but when I did the shade analysis, I was going to have to cut a good many trees or have a pretty big cutback on my solar production. So I opted to stick it out here. Now this is, I just laid this out with a compass and a wheel. When I actually put the posts up, I'll have a transit out here with a laser level and a tape measure to make sure we get these things oriented properly. But the array needs to run east and west, and I'm looking in the east direction. West is behind me, so that's the way you want it to run, because you want it facing due south. Now I used a compass app on my iPhone called Spyglass, and it has compensation built into it for magnetic declination. So just keep that in mind when you lay one out. If you're using a magnetic compass, you need to compensate for the magnetic declination in your area, and it varies a lot. In my area, I think it's 1.5 degrees or something like that. You have to add, because I'm east of the declination line, so I have to add. If you were west, you'd have to subtract. But the compass app had that built in, so I didn't have to worry with it. At any rate, hopefully I'll get to put this in here in the next week or so. Got a lot of weekend work coming up. This is one of those things that I'm going to have some extra help on. When I was working in my solar building, I got some guys to help me a little bit because there was so much work, but a lot of it I was able to do on my own. But here, to start this off, other than the laying it out, which I pretty much did by myself, but I'm gonna have to have some help. I'm gonna use the driving tool and an electric hammer. I showed those to you in a previous video. I have my backhoe with forks on the front and a man basket to a man cage to help facilitate with driving those 12-foot posts. And if I have my bucket truck back out of the shop, that'll make it a little easier too. But it's gonna take 3 or 4 people to do this. So we'll see. I'm gonna fix to get out of this storm. I hear the thunder rolling, and I probably ought not be out here any longer. Enjoy your weekend.